Well, I've been going to church ever since I was old enough to walk. Um, I didn't have no bad childhood really or anything. We always went to church when the doors were open. After I got out of school and started working and moved out, I never went to church anymore after that. I grew up in the 80s when I was a teenager, and everybody used to party back there, and just about. I smoked pot for a long time until me and the wife was having our first baby. Um, he didn't make it. It was tough. Uh, we had spent all our money going to the hospital. About 6 weeks he was alive. I mean, it's tough bearing your first kid, your firstborn son. Uh, After that, the wife kept pressuring me to want to have another baby, and I wasn't ready because I was still grieving over Tyler. I was at a crack house one time, and I'd smoked a bunch. And this old black man that was running the crack house, he said, "You done spent almost $600. I'm out of the good stuff. You got to go." But I straightened up a few years after my son Evan was born, my oldest son, surviving son. I started doing meth again when the wife found out she was pregnant. The second time. I got on meth hard. I spent a lot of money on it. When Ethan, my second son, was born, um, I was high. I was high when he was being born. And when I was holding him in the hospital room after she delivered him and all, I almost dropped him on the floor. That set up a lot of guilt and shame there. As time went on by, I tried and I tried and tried to get a bed at all these different rehabs, but they were full everywhere. When I got out of detox, I drove straight to the City of Lights, hoping my truck wouldn't stall out on me. I just barely made it here in that pickup truck. But I wanted to really know the reason why I wanted drugs like I did. And I figured that out. The pain I went through losing my first son and pressures of life and everything bearing down on you gets you that way. Everything seems different. I'm really thankful we serve a gracious God that's willing to give you more, 2 or 3 chances. It's not easy starting over your third time, you know. But all things are possible through Christ, because He does strengthen you.
I was a foster kid. You know, my mom's trying to fight to get me back and stuff like that. And then my grandmother got me. When my grandmother got me, she was like basically like a church lady and everything, and she was just trying to bring me to the Lord more closer. But I was ignoring her as a kid. Like when my mom got me, things changed though. Like my grandma was the only one that really cared about me. Because my mom always told me I was like trying to say I was retarded as a kid. Like you got a learning disability, and I ran with that, and that hurt me the most. It was hard though, because I had 4 brothers older than me, and they always picked on me as a kid, always talked down about me. I had my last birthday party when I was 13. That's the day I knew like things were starting to change. My father was never around. I only saw him 5 times my whole life before he died. And that's what kind of got me into addiction right there, is the rejection of my family and the pain from that. And when I turned 17, I started smoking and I started drinking. And that's when it got worse from there. It got really worse from there. 18, I got locked up for robbery in a second. I had like 3 co-defendants. Lucky I had my YL, so I only did a year. Growing up as a kid, I never knew how to be a man because I didn't know how to handle it. I went to my best friend's house at the time when he was doing dope on the table. When she was doing dope on the table, I said, "Is that gonna make me forget? I'll never forget this day." He said, "Yeah." So I did it. Ever since then, it was on like wildfire. When my father died, it got even worse. I started doing heroin. I started doing meth and heroin mixed together. I started drinking Coronas out there on the streets, just walking up and down. Like it was just a tragedy. Like, I look at myself now and I'd be like, wow, I've been through all that. Once I left the old me, the old ways of Tyquan, and got into the new ways, the man I'm supposed to be, everything started falling into place. And ever since, like, I started praying about it, started reading the Bible more, I started doing everything. It's hard to explain because God worked in mysterious ways. He done broke me down mentally, spiritually, physically, woke me back up. And it was hard though. It really was hard because I didn't have nobody going on. I had never had no guidance growing up. And to have friends, a spiritual family that's guiding you and they telling you this and telling you that, it's like I thought of them as family. So I never got mad at anything. So I just always went with it and listened. Because I never used to listen. I was a hard-headed kid. I was a bad kid. Like I said, I'm supposed to be dead right now. But by the grace of God, Him still being in my life, I'm here. And I'm doing way better than when I was. I'm in a better, way better place than I was. But I just thank the City of Light for that. And the City of Light has been amazing. And it's been a fun road. Had a little bumps along the way, but it's been fun though. And I love it. And now I'm leading guys, and it's just a good feeling. Just a good feeling.
I grew up poor for real. My dad was never around. Like, I remember meeting him when I was 5 for the first time. I transferred to a lot of schools. My mother, she had already had 2 open heart surgeries. So I always had to take care of her. We lived in the projects for a while, and I always got made fun of, you know what I mean? So, and I started fighting to get them to quit. And around 12 or 13, that's when I started smoking weed. Like, I can remember being like about 11 or 12, and my cousin snorting Ortaz with me, and he's grown. He was grown. At 17, I got hit head on in a real bad wreck, and it messed my back up. And my whole family went to this one doctor. He'd write everybody 120 pain pills and 120 Xanax. One day, I was about 19 at that time. I couldn't find no pain pills, and I was sick, man. God, I was so sick, and I called everybody I knew, and I couldn't find none. Shooting up that was the line I always thought I'd never cross, So once I crossed it, when I couldn't find nothing, it was easier for me to say, man, just get me one of them pills. I got with my son's mother, and I was 28 then, and she got pregnant. And so I'm thinking, man, this is it. Once I have my son, it's over with. I won't ever get high again. No, it wasn't, And then when he was probably 4, I ended up going to prison. When you got a kid, and you can't see him, and it's like you don't deserve happiness. I couldn't never talk to him or see him, and like I kind of feel like I dropped the ball, like I was a drug addict. before my daughter's born, I know I mean I'm done relapse, and I know I'm not gonna make it. I've done OD'd a couple times, and years go by. That cycle, I'd get clean for a minute, mess up again, go to jail, like it's crazy. How God works, you know what I mean? Like, I look back and I see things that happen, like, I know he was there the whole time. I would have never made it, if it wasn't meant for Jonathan. I was stuck in prison mentality. Like, you're not gonna play me for weak, and whether I get the worst end of the deal or not, like, you're not gonna push me around. And I felt like I was in hell for so long. Like, I can breathe now. Sky's the limit. That's all I can say. Really, it's just like anything's possible. I feel like anything's possible. Whatever direction I want to go, I can go. And I ain't tied down. I don't have to worry about, getting up and having to have something to get through the day, or realizing so many people have my back. Like, that's big for me. You know what I mean? Like, just everybody here, and the friends I've made here, and the people I've met. Like, just sky's the limit.